Rock Solid Radio wants to thank Hummel Insurance Group for sponsoring today's show. Hummel Insurance Group now owns and operates 7 different offices located throughout the tri-state area. For over 50 years now, the Hummel Insurance Group has been assisting customers with insurance needs and questions. For all your insurance needs, contact Hummel Insurance Group at 812-537-1785. Welcome to Rock Solid Radio. This is Merle Hutchinson, sitting with the ever-joyful spirit of Linda Hutchinson. What's up?
You sound a little jealous. Are you upset about my holiday spirit? I've got a new mug.
I'm not jealous, all right?
Our ski slopes, our local ski slopes open, so I'm sporting the snow because now our daughter is employed.
You always just walk around like Miss Cheerful. You know what? I don't feel like being cheerful.
What's wrong with you? I feel like you're a little jealous of my spirit.
Actually, you're just trying to start an argument, and that was last week's deal. We did arguments last week. We're not doing arguments this week, or are we?
Maybe. Actually, that was a show that really got a lot of conversation.
Yes.
Needless to say, people were chiming in and people were checking it out because everybody's had an argument.
We've all had some disagreements.
My dad was even watching, and I think he was enlightened by some arguments we've had in the past.
Yeah, I didn't know you guys had that issue. Those blue pants, what do we ever do with those? So no, I'm not actually jealous, but I am acting a little jealous.
You don't like my mug?
No, I don't really like your mug.
By the way, my Christmas mug that I was going to get, it said something about being on the naughty list, and I was afraid that people would think I'm naughty, so I decided not on that one.
Oh my gosh.
I decided to go straight to snow.
Linda has a much better filter than I do about what we say or do on the air. So anyway, no, I'm not jealous, but I had to act the part because guess what we're going to get into today?
Yeah, we're fitting in perfect about jealousy. Yeah.
Hun, I put together this idea. Well, we always brainstorm ideas well in advance, but then it comes to the time to actually have to write, what the show looks like. And we kind of go back and forth as we refine that. And the more I dug into this, I'm more like, I don't know if I want to do this. I'm guilty on so many fronts here. We're talking about jealousy and envy, and we actually had to go back and kind of define those words. I mean, you might assume that you know them, and maybe you're just smarter than us, but we had some confusion in those two words. But it actually led us to even a deeper direction. And that when we got into that deeper direction, it was like, wow, this really hits home on a lot of levels. So this is going to be, I hope this is a show that hits home with a lot of us, not in necessarily a negative way as much as an awakening.
Yeah, I think, the whole social media has really hurt this whole topic because people all the time will post, exciting things and family gatherings and parties they've been to. And then there's others that are at home and they're not involved or invited. And then there's a lot of jealousy and envy that comes from those things. And so it can really get down into our core and mess us up if we don't really get a hold of that. So
yeah, for sure.
We're going to be talking about all that.
So let's start with a couple thank yous of sponsors. We're going to do a couple of announcements, and then we're going to get right into this topic. So let's thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions and the Hummel Insurance Group for coming alongside of Rock Solid Radio and just being contributors and sponsors of what we do here on air. They believe in our messages, and we thank them for believing in the messages. They give us the opportunity to have the microphone and put these lessons and talks out. So thank those guys.
We want to let you know of a couple things that we're involved in coming up. One of them is locally here in the greater Cincinnati area in Harrison, Ohio, called a Purpose Workshop. And it's subtitled, this one particular, is Great Families on Purpose. And so they're actually going to be tackling the whole issue of mental health in our kiddos. And we're going to be involved with the youngest kiddos. It's actually a whole family workshop from kindergarten all the way up to adults, where adults are going to be spoken to, the teens are going to be spoken to, and then you and I are getting back into our childhood elementary school days of children's ministry and school counseling, and we're going to be involved with really speaking into the esteem and the mental health of our littlest kids, K through 5. And so it's January 15th from 9:30 to noon. It's at the Harrison High School Activity Center. It is a free workshop. And so you can find out more information by going to Church on Fire is actually hosting this event and invited us to be a part of it. And so we really encourage you to check that out at Church on Fire.
Good deal. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Hun, as we were putting this together, I think you had just read this morning, or the CDC just came out with a posting, basically just bringing to attention that we have
something we already knew,
a big time warning and alert about mental health, mental illness within our younger kids.
Yeah, it's actually as the U.S. Surgeon General just issued an advisory that there is a massive mental health crisis among young people, and that, the suicidal ideation, the self-harm, depression, anxiety is on a rise, and it's at a national emergency level. And so that's why this workshop on January 15th about our kiddos and how to help as a parent and the children hearing some positive messages is so important. So Purpose Workshop, check it out.
Yeah, we don't have like the instant at our fingertips solution, but I will tell you one thing: families make all the difference. Family health makes all the difference in the world of how our kids get through these times. That and isolation isolation itself has made a big problem. And so the whole COVID thing is having lots of repercussions. And so these things are now trickling out into actual mental health issues. So, again, we always talk about that. This is not a government fix. This if we can get back into the family and put in the time and really reestablish the values of what family should be about, that's how we really can start to help these kids in this situation and really just families in our community. So, and we don't say that because we read that in a book. That's what walks in our office every single day. And, we don't, it's just proof right there. So anyway.
We also are coming alongside Urban Crest Church in Lebanon, Ohio in February 12th. And we're going to be doing an all-day workshop for parents. It's 9 to 4. There is childcare provided and lunch provided. There is a cost there, I believe. You can go to Urban Crest Church in Lebanon, Ohio, and check that out. On their website, there is a registration there. We're going to be involved there talking about some of these things like technology and like how do we help our kids with anxiety and depression and when school is tough and things like that.
And
so
some
we
boundaries
really would love,
and how to, be the authority in the home without being a jerk and those kinds of things. Well, you might be a jerk, but to do it well. And then we have coming up February 19th, Bright Christian Church is offering another round of Secure the Knot. And this is a marriage enrichment day. And so like the Family's Rock was for parenting at Lebanon Church, this is going to be about the marriage. And we talk about the importance. If we don't have a solid, strong marriage and a function there that works well, parenting is even twice as hard. That's why divorce is so difficult when it comes to parenting. So it's really, really important that we do our work to keep marriages strong because it is the start and the core of the family.
And you got to secure the knot. I was just talking to a family recently, our kiddos smell blood in the water when we're divided or when there's conflict. And so they're going to use that. I mean, they're kids, right? And so we've got to be a united front. So this is a way to really solidify that relationship as a parent. And maybe you're a single parent out there and you're really struggling like, well, I don't have a partner in this and I am against my ex. Then the parenting workshops is going to be key for you on how do you get a backbone? How do you create a plan to help your children succeed in life?
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, let's get into topic. Would you consider yourself a jealous person?
Okay, so this topic, I knew we were recording today, and I'm just telling you, I didn't sleep well last night.
You didn't.
I didn't. I didn't
slept
at
like
all.
a log.
So I'm going to confess here because as I was talking and thinking, not talking, I wasn't talking to myself. I was really thinking and praying over this. Like, am I a jealous person? And it's not about you, hon. I have full trust in you.
But you don't want me? You don't.
I do want you, but I feel like you want me, so that doesn't create jealousy for me.
Okay, I'll give you that.
But I will say, growing up, I was very insecure, and I struggled with friendships of sharing my friends with others. And one particular little girl, that was in our neighborhood. My best friend was also friends with her, and I struggled with that, and I was not kind to her. And I really, to this day, have a lot of regret there of just the way I was so jealous about sharing my friend that I mistreated and probably today would be called a bully to this other little girl down the street because I did not want to share my friend. I was jealous of sharing and having her be friends with other people. And I don't like that about me, and I don't want to be that person anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get into this, but there's such a core of what is actually going on when we're talking about jealousy. But let's get in, just help with a little bit of word breakout here so we understand. Okay, the two words that kind of Linda and I were discussing earlier and putting this together were the terms jealous or jealousy and envy or being envious. And so, generally,
did you Google it?
Well, I did. I went right to this thing. It was what do they call them? Dictionaries.
Dictionary.
Paper and everything. Yeah. And so, to actually, they are interchangeable terms, and they get sloppily used in our language. Is that a right word?
Sloppily?
Sloppily. And so I looked that one up. Yeah. And so it gets messy in terms of how we use them, but kind of in more of their pure sense. Envy is us about desiring stuff, the things that people have, attributes or status, okay? So it's actually like, man, I'm envious of that house you have, okay? Or, man, I sure would like to have the car that you have.
Okay, so is this envy that I just got a text today from someone who is leaving town, and they're going to be...
Would this be my sister?
I wasn't going to name names.
Oh, I'm just naming her name.
But we play cards together and stuff. And so, usually on the weekend, we're like, hey, what are you doing? And she's on a plane right now, going to be in an owner's box of a football game this weekend. And like I was like...
She's going to be hobnobbing with the big boys.
I was like, what? What are you doing? And I actually said...
So instead of saying, good for you, that sounds great, you went like, where's my ticket?
I was like, I'm just... actually going downstairs right now to record a podcast on jealousy. So that really fits well.
Yes, so you would actually be envious.
So I found some gifts to send to her that were like very...
Not gifts like presents, but
those little,
So jealousy is a little bit different in that jealousy, I mean, like I said, they're interchangeably used, but jealousy usually is the type of phrase that you'll use when it's talking about relationships, okay? And so that is a jealous husband. So a husband who is possessing his wife because he thinks that she might be desiring someone else. Okay,
wow. So that my friendship was that.
Yes. So you were acting in a jealous way towards your friend because she might have a relationship with somebody else.
Yeah, and I wasn't mean to my best friend. I was mean to the other girl.
Right. Yeah, you weren't. Yeah.
Ooh.
And so anyway, the idea here is really something that goes much deeper. And we didn't put this in the title because I think if we put it in the title, people would right away go, oh, like that's Bible stuff, or they would shut it down.
What's that?
What actually is going on here is coveting.
Coveting? Like
coveting. I covet.
Coveting? Covet.
You say it clearly. Say covet. Covet.
My vocabulary. I always used to think I was going to get one of those little calendars, like you learn a day, like a word a day, because my vocabulary is maybe like 5th grade. I don't use coveting very much.
Well, you practice it. How's that?
So tell me what coveting is. Did you look that up in the dictionary?
So thou shalt not covet.
Okay, I remember that. Memorizing that, but I still don't know what it means.
Covet is desiring something that you don't have. So that's both jealousy and envy. It just all goes into one big pot of coveting. And what that is about, like you can covet time, you can covet money, you can covet relationships, you can covet strength or power. Like, man, like I want what they have. Okay. And so that whole idea of I desire something that somebody else has is extremely dangerous. And there's a reason why it comes out is actually being part of a sinful nature, okay? First and foremost, I mean, if you covet something, right? If you covet something, it means that you are thinking about yourself, okay? It's about you. Like, I covet the amount of money they have, or I'm jealous of it, or I'm envious of it. In other words, I desire that money. I desire that house they have. I desire that position that they have in life.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And I don't really know the answer. I don't know if you do, but is coveting when you don't have it, or can you covet things you already have? So like, can I covet my phone? Like I don't want to live without it. Is that coveting?
I'm going to say that I don't know whether it would be used that way or not. We would have to probably clarify. You could be overly protective and fearful of losing it. Okay. Yeah. And so that's that jealousy part where you start to act in a possessive way.
Yeah. So I use that a lot when we talk to people who are really holding on and clinging to something so much, like you said, possessing it, like I'm afraid to get rid of it or lose it. Like I say, if you don't hold everything you own with an open hand, for instance, like my best friend, growing up, if I don't hang on to her with an open hand and trust that God's going to protect our relationship, and I don't try to cling to it like I'm going to lose my life without her, then I think that's coveting. I think that's coveting as well.
Well, it is definitely a symptom of coveting,
Yeah.
right? It's a possessiveness. You're trying to hold on to it. So that's, that whole possession thing. And so I want you to think about this for a second, because this is where I think it got me. This is where I never thought of myself as a jealous person. But all of a sudden, when I started to dig into this, I was like, wow, this is a mindset. It is a mindset. And here's the mindset. When we covet, we are operating from a mindset of deficit. I don't have enough.
Wow.
I'm working from a deficit rather than having what I need, rather than being abundant and plentiful in my mind. I'm operating in a deficit mindset.
Wow.
I don't have what I want. Okay.
Man.
And so think about how often we live. I can live in a deficit mindset in so many ways. I'm never rich enough. I'm never strong enough. I don't have the perfect family. I don't have the perfect job. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. That is such a deficit. And so that whole covetous sort of thinking is sinful because it's all about I.
Wow.
It's all about I. I don't have enough.
Wow, hun, this really hits home, and I didn't know you were going in this direction, but that is one of my greatest work I'm doing with our young girls, is that they do not think they are enough, and that they're not strong enough, they're not pretty. I had one literally strong enough, pretty enough, that she's not enough. And because she's working out of that deficit mindset, she's looking at Instagram, she's looking at Snapchat, she's looking at her friends, she's looking at other people like, I want that, or I don't have that. And so I'm helping her show that she is strong enough, that she is smart enough, that she is enough. But then I have to go the other extreme too, because I don't want her to be on this inflated pedestal of I'm all that.
Right.
Because that's putting you on the throne, not the Lord on the throne. So I'm trying to find that happy medium for our kiddos.
So here comes the part two, which is even more devastating when thought about deeply about this. It's not that I'm just living in a state of deficit, a mental state of deficit. It's that my God is not enough.
Oh, wow.
I'm actually undercutting the idea that my God's not providing for me, that I don't have enough faith, belief, or even understanding of God's provision, that God's taking care of me. And so when I get stuck in deficit thinking, I start to think like, I actually don't even bring God in the picture, right? I'm like, no, this is all on me. And that's why I feel inferior, because I think it's all on me. When I back off of me and realize, no, God has given us a promise, and it's a promise of provision. And I don't even believe that.
Yeah.
I don't even trust that he's going to provide.
And it kind of reminds me of the glass half full mentality. Now, this isn't a see-through cup. And if you're listening, you're not even seeing it anyway. But, when you get exactly halfway in a bottle, let's say, and I just did this the other day with a teenage girl, is the bottle half full or half empty? And if you're in a deficit mindset, it's half empty, right? Or if it's partly cloudy, or is it partly sunny? Are you working to have a deficit mindset of, it's all cloudy?
Right.
Or are you looking at it as a growth mindset of, no, it's partly sunny. The sun is out. And so that's that mentality that we're working off of.
Yeah. So So now that we kind of have our head wrapped around, like, let's not get trapped by jealousy and envy in terms of terminology. Let's just talk about how I work in deficit mind thinking. And then if I am in deficit, that means I'm not really believing that I have what I need. Okay. So that means I'm not really understanding or believing that God is my provider. So let's give a little bit of advice.
How do you get out of it?
How do I get out of
Okay.
this?
Yeah, I was going to say, we're not going to help them get in it.
Yeah, no.
Probably we're already in it. Let's get out of it.
Yeah, how do we get out? And I will also say another thing, like, it's so easy. You might have it whipped in one area of thinking, oh no, like, I'm not a jealous husband. I trust my wife. It's in so many different areas of life where we can feel like we are not enough or are not getting what we want. Okay, so a couple of things. Oftentimes, Linda, you and I, when we work with people, man, our hardest part is just getting people to assess and recognize whether this is an issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Like forever, if somebody's in deficit thinking, they will think like, I'm not going to be happy until I get this job or whatever. And like, they feel like that's totally okay for them to be driven to get whatever they're missing. Okay. And we're not saying we shouldn't be driven to get things. Okay. What we're saying is when it starts to own us and we are now operating in a way that we're not enough.
Yeah.
We're never going to be satisfied.
And actually, I told a group of teenage girls recently, that if you don't write your story, someone else is going to.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking about yourself? If you finish the sentence, I am, what would you say? And because it's really reflects your mindset. Is it the deficit mindset? Oh, I'm stupid, or I'm not enough, or I'm not pretty enough. Those are the deficit thinking. We got to get rid of that stinking thinking.
Think about catalog shopping. Remember when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah, I used to circle all the
You
things.
used to get the Sears and Roebuck catalog.
Really
that
showing your
was
age.
the big thick one.
Yeah.
And then you had some of those puny ones, service merchandise. That was always
Toys R Us.
Toys R Us, But think about when you were a kid, all right, and you would get the catalog. And think about, again, I'm not saying like, oh, you should never do it. What I'm saying is like, think about what happens in your head as you go through those pages. Whew.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Before even highlighter pens, we just get out a real pen. Yeah. Hey, Mom, look on page 357. Check that out. Okay?
I've never thought of a pogo stick, but I see one here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, your mom says, well, just earmark each of the pages, and the whole catalog's earmarked because you're like, I need it all.
Yeah.
All right. So that's that whole idea. If you want to do an assessment to see whether you are stuck in a level of unhealthy deficit mindset, think about the searches you do on the internet. Are you always looking for something? All right. Think about where you spend your dreams. All right. Are you dreaming to make something big or better? Or are you dreaming to get? All right. To always like, I won't be content until this. Are you fantasizing about another relationship?
Wow.
Okay.
That's a biggie.
Yeah, because like that is, again, deficit thinking. The relationship I have right now, man, I'd like to run it up against this other relationship. I bet you this other relationship would be better, and that's where the fantasies come in. So do an assessment of where you find yourself on the internet, where you find yourself in your dream time and your, daydreaming. Think about it just for a second and just catch yourself like, wow, I don't even want to know how often I go through Amazon and just do the catalog shopping.
Yeah, but you got to be really careful with that whole comparison trap, hun, because there's always going to be someone out there who has more than you, who looks prettier than you, that's smarter than you. And so if that's where you're looking for your peace and your joy, you're going to come up empty. And that's exactly what walks in our door every day.
Yeah.
Is people who have set their eyes and their expectations on something that is not God's best for them. And that's what they're defining their worth and value from. And it's really fallen up short.
Yeah, for sure. But here's then, hon, like, let's say they finally get what they want, right? So here's how we all recognize, especially it's easy to recognize this in kids, but us adults are not a whole lot different. We can recognize this when I'm a deficit mind thinker, when I finally get what I want. And as soon as I get it,
Doesn't make you happy.
I don't even take care of it, right? I don't even take care of it. I get this new thing, and a week down the road, I'm no longer thinking about it. I may not even be taking care of it, okay? If it's something that could sit in the garage or sit in the kitchen, and I don't even think about it. And so now...
Or you want something even more. Like
Right.
I had a friend, a coworker, I'm not going to name any names, but the minute the new iPhone came out, man, he had the pre-order, man. He wanted the biggest, best one, right? And then the minute he got it, he's looking for what comes out next. Maybe it's an iWatch. Maybe it's like always something more, always something bigger and better. And so we got to make sure that we really keep that in check.
Yeah. Yeah. So that whole idea of you'll watch this with your kids. We got Christmas coming up soon. All right. You can tell whether they're in deficit thinking if they get that toy. They play with it for a day, and then 2-3 days later, it's nowhere to be found or it's broken. Okay. Like, well, they don't even take care of it. Okay. So that tells us, because then that's what leads me to the next. Like, our son got a dirt bike. Okay. And man, that's all he could think about. And we got that, right? Like, it's part of the growing up phase. And once he got that, as soon as it broke, it was like a nightmare. Like, you didn't want to put the time into it. It was like, okay. And now we're learning.
So again, anything that you're holding on with a clenched fist, anything that you're clinging to and think, I can't live without this person or this thing, it's exactly what God's going to work on you with, because he will not compete. He is a jealous God, and he wants to rank as number one in your life. He wants to be on the throne and the priority. And if you put someone or something else, then it's sinking sand, and it's not going to end well.
He's a jealous God because he's a sovereign God, which means that he is the creator of all. He already has everything you need, okay? And because he is that source of everything, we should see him as enough, okay? And so that whole idea, we have to find the one answer. So then what is the one answer? And so when working through this, the very first thing, after you've assessed, and you go, man, I do struggle with this, like in a lot of different areas, okay? My very first thing is this simple word that we call gratitude. I do not have a practice of being genuinely thankful. Genuinely thankful for the things that I have, right? For the family that I have, for the job that I have, for the house that I have. Listen, not comparing it to the neighbor's house, but thankful for what it provides to me. Not compared to somebody else's job, but what this job does for me. That whole gratitude is the answer to getting rid of that coveting mindset, that deficit mindset. Be thankful and have a heart of gratitude for everything. First and foremost, the gratitude towards God.
Yeah.
He is enough.
John chapter 10 is one of my favorite chapters, and I use it a lot when we talk about boundaries, because he really talks about how the thieves and the robbers are outside of the fence trying to come. And he literally says the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come so that you may have life and have it abundantly. Like, that's where we find abundant life. It's not from the stuff or coveting. It is from trusting in him and surrendering and being still before him.
Yeah, I just think that's huge, because I think this is the other part, that if I live in a deficit mindset, I will try to define abundantly differently than what God defines it. Abundantly is having contentment in what he provides, because it is enough.
Yeah.
Right. Versus me saying, what do you mean? An abundant life would be a couple Ferraris, a couple houses, a couple this,
mansions, according to our teenager.
Yeah. And so, no, that's not abundant. In fact, that is deficit. That's deficit lending.
So this is why this is my life verse, Ephesians 3:20 and 21. And you didn't even have it in the notes, but this is my favorite verse, because this is the way I want to live my life. Because it says, now to him, meaning the Lord, who is able to do immeasurably more than all I could ever ask or imagine, because it's his power at work in us, and to him be the glory. He gets all the credit. He's on the throne. He is enough. And because he's enough in my life, he creates this power in me where I can do anything through him. And I am going to see him blow my mind time after time, not from the house we have or the car we drive, but from the peace and the joy that I experience, regardless if I have a lot or I have nothing, regardless of the circumstances.
Yeah, I know this sounds like pie in the sky kind of thinking, okay? But I want to tell you, like, the type of work that we do with people all the time, people come to us and deficit thinking to the point where it's now limiting them or handicapping them
They're
in life.
bankrupt.
Yeah, they are bankrupt. And so here's the thing that I think is very important that you understand. Linda and I see people who make millions and millions of dollars a year,
Yep.
and those who make next to nothing. Okay,
Yep.
it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what your income is. It's not money related. That's why this is an important topic, and that's why it's not like pie in the sky dreaming kind of thinking. It's like, no, this is really real, because I may have all the money I want, but I may be covetous in so many other areas. I wish I had that family. Here I am, a single man. I'm in my 50s. I have no family, but I got all the money in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm empty, and I'm wondering why.
Matthew 6:33 says, "Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." So when we put the God up there on the priority list on the throne, everything else kind of lines up, and then we find ourselves having a good life.
Very good. So, hey, we're going to wrap things up. We're coming into this season, and we just want to challenge you, like, okay, wait, are you going to be happy at all this season? If you get into Christmas and you're just banging your head against the wall, like we didn't have enough, everybody was angry and anxious, and the tensions were high, it doesn't matter how many presents you had under that tree. We can't wait to get Christmas over. Okay. And if you're starting to feel yourself getting drifted into that mindset, understand you're thinking from a deficit. All right. Just stop, take a deep breath, and just say thanks. Be thankful and start surrounding yourself with a thankful way, and watch what happens to your Christmas season.
Yeah, especially if you're in social media and you're really getting sucked into that comparison trap. Please, please. The Apostle Paul was in jail when he wrote Ephesians, I'm in the Ephesians mode today. Philippians chapter 4. And I love what he said. Could you say the same thing today as the Apostle Paul when he was in jail? He said, "I rejoice greatly in the Lord. I am not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or want." Can you say yes to that you would feel content and have that secret?
Let me just say, I'm a work in progress. Okay.
Me too.
And so, again, this is just about us understanding. And I will say, this is Satan's greatest tool of you living in deficit. This is where he wants you to go.
Yeah.
All right. So don't forget that. This is such an easy door for him to open, no matter who we are.
But you know what? Our daughter, who came through us through adoption years ago, she clings to this verse, Philippians 4:13, which I believe is where she finds her strength and where she gets her fixed mindset into something that's going to be positive and life-giving. And that's, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And that's where you find that motivation to shift from a deficit mindset to an abundant lifestyle and mindset. And that's what she has done, and that's what she has seen God do in her life. And I want that to do for you in your life.
Absolutely. Okay, so hopefully this made some sense. Hopefully it kind of hit a chord with you. All right. We want to thank you guys for listening to what we do here at Rock Solid Radio. Do us a favor, share these shows. We just greatly appreciate that. As we are coming through the month of December here in this year, we have been so just blessed and fortunate and learning to be thankful, because we've been blessed in many, many ways here in our ministry and in our work and with our family. And so we just want to not live in a deficit mindset. And so we want to thank you guys. Do us a favor, continue to share the shows, give us those 5-star ratings, and just help us get the message out. We do want that, okay?
Yes. But it's because we believe in this message. We believe in this mission of strong and healthy families. As you said on the top of the show, hon, that's how we change these national emergencies and crises in our young people, is that we strengthen the core of the family. And that's what we're here to do.
Yeah. So thanks to Casey's Outdoor Solutions and the Hummel Insurance Group for sponsoring the work that we do here. We just want to ask you guys to go out there and take care of each other in this Christmas season. Take a little time to say thank you to the family and friends that you have, and go out there and make this community a little stronger, one family at a time.
Yeah, thanks again for listening to Rock Solid Radio, building a stronger community, one family at a time. Make it a great day.
Am I going to get anything I want for Christmas?
That would be coveting.
Oh, jeez. This stuff is so hard.
We're a work in progress.
Rock Solid Radio wants to thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions. Casey's is a premier garden center and gift shop located in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. They offer a wide selection of high-quality plants, landscaping materials, and home decor. They do amazing high-quality work and can help you transform your indoor and outdoor living spaces into something beautiful. So stop by Casey's Outdoor Solutions today and let them know you appreciate their support for Rock Solid Radio. Visit Casey's today at 21481 State Line Road, Lawrenceburg, Indiana.